Jennifer, come in also.
I'll take it.
Brad, get in here.
I'll take it.
No, I'm doing it. Angie, Lupita. All right. Okay, wait.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, good. Wait, hey, that's
Ready?
good. Look at us.
Ready? Nice.
Oh, yes! We did it!
Hi, my name is Jessica Murphy. Over the last few years, the art of taking selfies has become a major part in people's lives. Not just at home here in Ireland, but all over the world. And I won't lie, I like to take the occasional 1 or 2 selfies myself. Well, okay, a lot. And although it may look like all fun and games, what effect are they really having on our generation? In this documentary, I aim to find out. This is Mise.
Me, Myselfie, and I. With over 1 million selfies being taken per day, that's nearly 365 million a year, it's safe to say that selfies are really taking over our everyday lives. Nowadays, selfies are being shared more on our phones, tablets and laptops than ever before, and the search for perfection is key. But what effect is it really having on us?
I think selfies have a major effect on us because it changes the way we communicate with each other. It changes everything pretty much because Snapchat now is so key in today's youth and the way we communicate, and I make most of my friends on Snapchat, which sounds kind of weird.
I think selfies are kind of bringing kids into thinking that they're more important than they really are. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, my parents always told me, you know, you're important, you can do what you want with life. But I mean, I was walking past a park there in the really good weather, and a child about 7 years of age was freaking out at his mother because there was no Wi-Fi in the park. So I think kids have been growing up now with this sense of self-entitlement due to the technology they're exposed to at this age. And just because he couldn't send a picture of himself to his friends on the swings, then it wasn't worth being there.
I think they're good. I mean, everyone gets to take a picture and just post it up, and people can actually see you and you're not worried. You know, I think they're good.
There's also been a massive increase in people altering their photos. People are striving to have the perfect skin, hair and body tone. But can we ever really get the perfect image?
To find out more about how we perceive our self-image, I decided to talk to my friend Aisling O'Connell. Aisling rose to worldwide attention back in 2009 when she appeared on RTÉ's The Model Scouts, and ever since then she's travelled the globe working for some of the world's biggest brands and agencies. I decided to meet up with her because I believe as a woman so used to the camera, she could tell me what effect it really has on us.
Hi Aisling, thanks for coming to talk to me today. I just want to talk a little bit about your modelling career and how your self-image has changed from being in the industry. So as a model, do you find that seeing yourself on camera has ever changed your opinion or how you perceive your self-image?
Definitely. I think it makes me more aware of how I look and how I am perceived, but I think it also just makes you more aware of your self-image as well. I think it's really kind of central to how I perceive myself and stuff like that because of the industry that it is. It's a very judgmental, very kind of face value kind of a industry, so definitely it does open your eyes to that.
So on the subject of selfies then, would you take selfies a lot yourself?
To be honest, no, I don't. I don't take a lot of selfies. Fair enough, I would be familiar with the application of Snapchat, which I would use, but as in posting selfies to social medias and stuff like that, not really my cup of tea. That isn't really me, so I wouldn't really be that type of person, but hey, if that's what you want, go for it. Like,
I suppose every Snapchat would have something like a filter then, so I suppose kind of filters would be almost representative of in the modelling industry now, something like Photoshop being used to touch up photos and change the way people look. So have you ever been exposed to anyone photoshopping your pictures, and how did you feel about it?
Oh, definitely. Photoshop is a huge thing that's used in the modelling industry. Even our first test shots where we had to wear absolutely no makeup, you could see there was a few retouches inside there. But like that, these are professional people, professional photographers, and it is their work as well, so they want to make it look good. But I do think that the availability of these applications has become more widespread. So you've got young people today, 13, 14-year-olds, who are them in their own right becoming professionals at these applications, using Photoshop and doctoring images and putting filters over things. Definitely something that has been seen a lot more lately, definitely.
Just in your own opinion then, do you think that selfies are changing the way that people perceive themselves, people who would post very regularly to the likes of Facebook and Twitter?
Yeah, I think it's a trend that's really starting among young people today. Selfies, Snapchat has a huge thing to do with it, I think, really. But people, you do see trends starting with people that they upload images nearly every day, posting pictures of themselves, what they're doing. Maybe it could be just to maybe glamorize their everyday life, or it could be just to give people an insight into what they do. Some people's cup of tea, others maybe not so much. But I think it's kind of all your own preference, really. But it does kind of make people think that you may have a little bit slight higher confidence than other people, because you feel comfortable to post selfies every day, because they can be very personal and they can be very intimate. So I think it's all to be really got to do with your personal preference about how you view yourself, and do you think it's okay to put your image on these social websites. But I think it's everyone to their own, really.
Yeah. So would you ever pass any judgment on anyone who would post 3 or 4 selfies a day? Would you be thinking to yourself, is that person self-confident? Or would you ever consider how other people are feeling when they post something online?
Well, if I saw someone posting selfies 2 and 3 times a day, I definitely wouldn't think that they have low confidence anyway, or low self-esteem. That is something that would not cross my mind. I think it kind of goes to the opposite side of the scale. If people aren't getting judged for putting up selfies and stuff like that, it usually is just seen as a bit of banter, a bit of a laugh, nothing too serious. But yeah, you do see it where people get aggro for posting so many selfies online, or people might think that they're full of themselves and all this kind of thing. But personally, it's not the kind of route that I choose to go down. But hey, everyone to their own. So whatever you decide to do yourself, I suppose, really.
So from that now, do you think that you could say people are hiding behind their selfies? Is there more than just posting a selfie to Facebook, or are people getting used to kind of this false representation of themselves?
I think it's very much so, just if they post a selfie, they post a selfie. But I do agree with there is huge undertones of that as well. Maybe they may not have self-confidence in themselves, so they want to make themselves seem a bit better looking, or they think they seem better looking. But like that, I think it's very important for people to become comfortable with their self-image and not to be relying on all these filters constantly, because it does give a false representation of what you really are. And I think it's a huge thing now for people to contrive to be a certain way and to look a certain way, for their body to be a certain way. I think that the message of be yourself has totally gotten lost in the midst of all of this. I think it's very important for people to remain true to themselves, but they are going to fall victim to the same thing as everybody else does. Everyone's going to put a filter on it if it makes them look better, you know. So it's almost like a bit of a security blanket in a way. It's like, if I don't look too great, at least I can put a filter on it, you know. It's just a little security blanket, really, more than anything, I would kind of think anyway.
You'd say be yourself, not your selfie.
Yeah, definitely. I would say be yourself and not your selfie. I definitely would agree with that one.
So now, do you see much future in selfies? Do you think it's peaked, or what's your opinion on that?
I think it's peaked, but I definitely think it's going to keep going strong. I think that get your selfie game up, of everything like that. People are going to remain to take selfies, and they'll always post selfies, especially the generation that's up and coming now. They're very selfie orientated and very social media orientated. So I don't think that's something that's going to get lost along the way. It might even escalate a bit more. I wouldn't be surprised if it would happen, but I think it's very unpredictable how it's going to go. I think being content aware of the internet is hugely important for young people today, to know once you upload something onto the internet, it's there forever. I think that idea might slip out of their mind a little bit, so I do think that people need to become more aware of what they're doing with their selfies, but I definitely think that it is a trend that won't stop.
Aisling, thank you so much for coming to talk to me today. Before you go, will we take a selfie?
You might as well.
Selfies take up 30% of the photos taken from people aged 18 to 24. It's been said that posting a lot of selfies could be a sign of low confidence, because people are looking for praise and reassurance. Surprisingly, 34% of males have said that they digitally alter their selfies every day, as opposed to 13% of women. Just goes to show that it affects just as many males as females.
I'm guilty of using filters. I just look prettier, to be honest, when I use a filter.
Well, it's funny. Just this morning, I posted a photo on my Instagram and I put a filter on it. Do you know, the old toaster filter? So I suppose when everyone else is doing it, you kind of feel the need to do it, and it just kind of makes you feel more confident, to be honest.
I have, yeah. I think anybody who said they haven't is a liar, to be honest. Most of my pictures I've put, especially on Snapchat, all my pictures have the filter on it because I look 20 times better with the darker filter than I do with the actual daylight.
Capturing the self in an image is something that photographer John Cleary knows a great deal about. I was curious to see how the change in the altering and capturing of photos has advanced since he began his career.
Right, John, thank you for coming to talk to us
No
today
problem,
anyway.
no
so
problem.
I suppose we're just going to ask you a few questions about
Certainly.
your own life as a photographer.
Sure.
So do you think now, being a photographer yourself, do you think that the self-image is very important to you?
I think it's fantastic. I mean, all the people at the moment that are after becoming involved in photography, just with a phone. Kids from 7 and 8 years have those selfies and they're making their own. Now, quality in some of them is excellent. I've seen them. And you could actually get a print out of most of them because you have, let's say, maybe 10 or 12 million pixels on them, and that's quite good.
Mm-hmm. And especially young people nowadays, they be using their phones and technology to change how they look and change their skin colour and their eye colour. And what do you think about that? Do you think it has a bad effect on them?
No,
or?
I think it's fantastic.
You think it is?
Of course it is, yeah. They're learning continuously. And you know, they're going to be artists in their own right when they manipulate those images. Mm-hmm. I think it's great.
Just great.
Yeah. Do you take selfies?
I do take selfies, I do. So John, thank you very much for taking the time out here today.
Oh, no
anyway,
problem.
for
No
coming
problem,
to speak to
yeah.
us. So
Yeah.
I suppose before I go, will we take an old selfie?
Certainly, yeah.
Should we take one? So, right.
Squeeze in closer to me.
Smile!
It's just gonna grow. It's just completely gonna grow.
Oh God, that's a really scary concept. I have no idea. We're all going to look like Hollywood superstars anyway in 20 years by the selfie. Nobody's going to probably look like they actually do in real life. It's actually quite scary.
I think it's going to evolve. I don't quite know where it's going to get to or where it's going to go to, but as with any form of self-expression or any form of art that has come about in the history of humanity, really, it always evolves to something else, and you can never really predict where it's going to go. So
I probably think it's going to be just, well, I don't know, I think Snapchat has kind of made selfies like come to their peak. Like, what else can there be? Selfie is a picture of oneself. But then if you look back through history, like, there has been, like, everyone loves photos. Even if you go back to 60s and 70s, it's, even if it was just a camera, people took photos and like, oh, look at us there, and it was new, it was fresh. Now it's just everyone sees it, it's a photo, whatever. I think the fact that you have digital copies of it and it's not an actual physical copy, kind of like money in an account. If you have it in your hand, it seems a lot more than it does when it's actually just numbers on a page.
Well, people aren't going to get less vain. People are going to go more and more dependent on their phones, which means they're more and more dependent on their self-image and how they're perceived. So I can see it getting a lot more intense. I could see people taking selfies when they're up at the altar getting married or something like that. It's just going to go more and more bizarre, more and more acceptable. Yeah. Word.
Over the last few weeks, I've learned a lot about myself and others around me making this documentary. And as much as I hate to admit it, I do think that selfies really have changed the way we see ourselves and others around us. Whether we are using filters or sharing our images for the world to see, It's perfection we are really searching for. However, after this experience, I believe it can never be achieved.
No matter how hard we search, we'll never be perfect, no matter what editing software or angles we use, because they're never a true representation of ourselves. I've been Jessica Murphy, and I've learned a lot about Mise, me, Myselfie, and I. Until next time, take care.